Van life online looks incredible. Freedom, stunning nature, endless adventure. But after 100 days living in our self-built camper van, we discovered the part that nobody talks about and have a solutions how to manage it. At first, it looked like a dream, but over time, reality started catching up. For example, you're not that self-sufficient because you're constantly looking for water refillments and dumping places, of course. You know what I mean? Even though we have 120 liters water tank, which is highly recommended because this is the only material you would need all the time. Also, to refill your gas tank, it's not legal everywhere.
Yeah.
No.
But still, it has to be done. And the only off-grid part which is actually working is electrical system. But then comes the second part, that van life is cheap. It is cheap after you spend your first 50k on electric system, gas, water, etc. I'm not even talking if the car breaks. All of the maintenance costs a lot. The solution for that would be have extra funds in your emergency account. Third point, you can go anywhere. Actually, plenty of countries in Europe, they're starting to fight van lifers because people are doing terrible things. They're littering, they're putting their chairs, fireplaces, just messing up the parking lots. So you will see plenty of signs restricting with the height measurements. They're restricting entrances to towns with the signs. And in general, I'm not recommending you to enter all towns because usually in Europe the streets are super tiny, and we had our van life nightmare. We were stuck in one of them with 2 cars in front and in back. It was crazy. Just you cannot go everywhere. And the solution for that would be travel off-season, because the businesses are happy, the parking lots are not that crowded, you're not fighting for spot, people are not mad about the sounds or free spaces you take, or in general you will get less problems and see more in the same amount of time. The fourth point I would like to mention is that expectations are so high and the social media set the bar to the roof. I am contributing for that, but I will try to fix it a little bit, because it's not like 80% butterflies and just 20% of work. It's actually all the way around. Only solution for that, it would be that keep your expectations low. It would just help all through the trip. The sixth lie would be that you will always see epic views, like this one, for example. What I didn't told you that I was searching for it. We stopped at 20 parking lots just to find this. It's not easy. The solution would be that you have to do your own research. I showed you before, like gorges or secret spots. People are sharing them, but they are usually sharing them in Patreon like we do. And to be completely open with you guys, I just feel like half of the time I don't want epic views. I want convenience, safety, shop around me, and to have a place where just to discharge grey water. Because it's just too much with all of those views. You just enjoy them because you have 10% of them, not like you're driving only for them. The rest of the puzzle is adventure, hikes, everything else outside the van. The parkings are usually just a little piece while doing a van life. Well, at least for us, it depends what kind of van life are you doing. Are you just parking in one place and just sitting there for half of the year? Last few of the points Vicky will mention to you. She has to say something about
living in a tiny space means constant teamwork. There's no real alone time or personal space, so we had to learn how to coordinate everything. If I'm cooking lunch, Arme is finding parking, or if Arme is fixing cabinets, I'm editing reels. Tiny space life definitely means that you learn how to work together. Once you park, you can relax. It might look like that, but really not. You are constantly worrying if it's legal to stay here, if someone might park next to you or even block you in. There were times where we just stopped and instantly realized that the place feels off, and we just left and keep searching for another spot. And even if we stop, there's a checklist which we need to do, is to check the car level and to check if the ground is solid enough, because it might be raining at night and we don't want to get stuck in the morning.
one short practical advice, because not everybody has those 4x4 monsters. Stand like this with all of your weight, and if you cannot penetrate the ground more than 1 centimeter, you're good to go. Well, at least this is my method of checking. While Vicky was doing something actually useful, I decided to save one shower credit by going to this called Spring River. Oh, okay. This is a beautiful spot, even though a bit trashy, but you wanna join me, Vika?
Definitely not. I don't like cold plunges, cold showers, but Arme sometimes tries this adventure. And it flows so fast. Oh my god! Oh my god! Arme! Arme saved the slippers. I'm not sure if I filmed it because I panicked and turned off the camera for a second. Okay, let's go back to the van.
And the last point is that it's never-ending story. It's forever DIY. Things always break.
Check the ignition.
And you have to fix something. And the only solution for that is to have all the tools you need and to use your experience. I mean, I cannot imagine people who haven't built their vans. How do they fix something if it's broke?
Or they don't even know where to find some stuff in their van.
Yeah, it is the advantage and it is the solution is actually to make everything yourself. To add to all of those lies or expectations and reality is that all of the vans are different, all of the builders are different, the needs of our adventures are different. We live it full time for a year, somebody's using it for weekend adventures. Totally different if you are staying just in one parking lot for one summer. Don't take our word for granted, just value everything by your own needs.
Thank you for watching, and this is the recap of our Eurotrip so far.